You smooth foundation across your cheek, trace eyeliner along your lid, sweep color onto your lips. Ordinary morning ritual, but for thousands of years, those same gestures killed the people who performed them. Not through accident or contamination, through the ingredients themselves. Today we treat cosmetics as regulated consumer products, tested and labeled, their contents disclosed on every package. We assume someone checked. We assume the pretty colors in the compact won't burn through skin or collapse internal organs. That assumption is new. For most of human history, beauty required poison, and everyone knew it, and people kept paying the price anyway. Before modern cosmetics existed, appearance still mattered. Ancient Egyptians ground malachite and galena into eye paint. Sumerians mixed crushed minerals with animal fat. The goal wasn't vanity in the way we imagine it today. Kohl protected eyes from desert glare. Oils formed barriers against sun and wind. Romans described skin creams made from beeswax, olive oil and rosewater, formulas designed to preserve and shield. These weren't luxuries in the modern sense. They were adaptations to environment and social structure, marks of status, hygiene, and group belonging. But the line between protection and decoration blurred early. Cosmetics became tools for transformation, for matching the face to an ideal that shifted with every century and every court. By the Middle Ages in Europe, pale skin signaled wealth. Tan meant labor in fields under open sky. So faces were whitened and cheeks rouged, a look that required chemistry no one fully understood. The whitening agents were lead-based. Different names for the same toxic compound appeared across different markets and centuries. Lead carbonate mixed with vinegar and applied as paste. It delivered the porcelain complexion fashion demanded. It also caused hair loss, muscle paralysis, and in severe cases, death. The danger wasn't hidden. Physicians wrote about it, users experienced it. But the social reward outweighed the visible cost, at least until the damage became disfiguring. Then more makeup covered the scars the makeup had caused. The cycle fed itself, each layer of product answering the damage the previous layer had inflicted. Lead wasn't the only threat. Vermilion, the vivid red used for lips and cheeks, contained mercury sulfide. Belladonna drops widened pupils to create a softened, wide-eyed effect and blurred vision for hours afterward. Arsenic compounds brightened skin. These weren't trace contaminants or accidental inclusions. They were the active ingredients, chosen deliberately because they worked, because they produced exactly the effect the wearer wanted. The absence of regulation meant no testing, no disclosure, no accountability. Manufacturers mixed whatever produced the desired color or texture. If it also produced tremors, sores, or kidney failure, that became the user's problem to manage. And because cosmetics were associated with women, and women's health concerns were often dismissed as trivial or secondary, the harms were documented slowly and addressed even more slowly. Attitudes toward cosmetics shifted across centuries and regions. At many points in Western history, visible makeup was openly frowned upon, associated with moral deception or social excess. Yet people kept using it anyway, pursuing ideals of appearance despite social disapproval and physical risk, because the alternative was to appear outside the acceptable range entirely. That tension between public condemnation and private practice runs through the whole history. Cosmetics were simultaneously scandalous and ubiquitous, condemned from pulpits and sold in the same market towns where the sermons were delivered. The 19th century brought some progress. Vaseline and lanolin emerged as safer alternatives to older formulas. Castor oil had long been used in ancient Egypt as a protective balm, but commercial cosmetics still contained dangerous substances well into the 20th century. The industry operated without oversight. No law required safety testing before products reached consumers. No agency checked what was in the jar before it was sold. That changed slowly, unevenly, and only after documented public harm forced action. Regulations emerged in waves, jurisdiction by jurisdiction, often in direct response to specific poisonings or disfigurements that generated enough outrage to compel legislators to act. The history of cosmetic regulation is largely a history of harms that became too visible to ignore. The transformation wasn't driven by manufacturers developing a conscience. It was driven by science advancing to the point where harm could be measured and proven, by consumers demanding accountability, and by governments eventually creating frameworks to enforce standards. The European Union now maintains stringent cosmetic regulations. Some countries have banned animal testing entirely. In the United States, the Food and Drug Administration monitors marketed products for safety, though unlike drugs, cosmetic ingredients do not require pre-market approval before they reach shelves. Modern cosmetics are generally safer. The lead compounds are gone, the mercury preparations are gone, but the phrase generally safer still leaves room for controversy. Per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances, formaldehyde releases, and ingredients that trigger allergic reactions appear in products today. Legal and disclosed, their long-term cumulative effects still being studied in real time by real people who are simultaneously the test population. What survived from the old world isn't just the desire to alter appearance, it's the implicit bargain embedded in cosmetics from the beginning, that looking a certain way justifies some level of risk, and that the person applying the product bears primary responsibility for choosing it. The lead is gone, but the structure of the exchange remains largely unchanged. The word cosmetics comes from the Greek kosmetik techne, meaning the technique of dress and ornament, from cosmos, meaning order and ornament. Not correction, not concealment. Order, the idea embedded in the original language, is that cosmetics arrange the face into its proper form, impose a legible structure that presents the self to the world. But what counts as proper order changes with every generation. The pale, lead-whitened face of the 18th century looks grotesque to us now. The kohl-rimmed eyes of ancient Egypt look theatrical. Every era believes its own beauty standards are natural, obvious, the simple truth of human attractiveness. Every era, viewed from sufficient distance, turns out to have been wrong. That's the strange layer beneath makeup's history. Not only that beauty required poison, though it did, but that each generation accepted that harm as the reasonable cost of meeting a standard that would be obsolete within decades. They weren't irrational. They were responding to the same pressures we respond to: social reward, peer pressure, the objectification that some women have described experiencing when they feel compelled to use cosmetics to meet an expectation they didn't set. The victims weren't only the individuals who suffered lead poisoning or mercury tremors or the corrosive effects of arsenic brighteners. The wider damage extended to entire populations taught that their unaltered faces were insufficient, that social belonging required chemical modification, that the cost was acceptable because everyone around them was paying the same price without complaint. We ended some of that. Regulation reduced measurable harm. Science produced genuinely safer alternatives. The worst ingredients were removed, not through industry virtue, but through sustained pressure, documented harm, and legal consequence. Progress in cosmetic safety is real and worth acknowledging. But the deeper pattern persists beneath the safer formulas. The technique of dress and ornament still promises that order, attractiveness, and social legibility are achievable through the right products applied the right way. The products are better now. The promise is the same one that sent earlier generations reaching for the lead paste. When you smooth foundation across your cheek tomorrow morning, you're performing a gesture that has been repeated for thousands of years across dozens of cultures and every social class. The formula has changed. The risk is smaller. But the need that gesture answers, the desire to arrange the face into something acceptable, to meet the standard the surrounding world has decided is correct, that need hasn't diminished. It's only found tools that are less likely to kill you. And the question that sits underneath all of it, the one makeup's long history quietly raises and never fully answers, is whether the standard itself was ever worth the price. Every generation paid it. Very few stopped to ask who set the terms.